What's up, everybody? It's Wednesday, hump day, hottest show on the streets. Bringing you your Bama football news in my own words. Yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. The week of Southeastern Conference play for your Crimson Tide. Alabama hosting Vanderbilt this weekend on Saturday, Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa. You're rocking and rolling. Yours truly, in my own words, Stephen M. Smith. We're bringing you the show, Magic City of Birmingham, streaming this to you on YouTube. And speaking of the channel, you know what time it is. You hit that subscribe button right now. Smash that thing right now. Get all of your friends, family members, diehard Bama fans, casual Bama fans, consumers of college football and Alabama football to subscribe because if you are feeling the content, you're enjoying what's going on, they will also. Don't forget to leave a like. Give us that thumbs up. Run those likes up. Show us that passion. Make us your show, network, platform, and channel to talk Bama. Turn all of those notifications on. Hit that little bell so that way you miss absolutely nothing when it comes to us breaking down your Crimson Tide. We also got you covered here on Facebook and Twitter as well, streaming to you the show. We're going to have my man Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst, coming on a little bit later on in the show. Alabama 23 verbal commitments for the 2023 class of 23, including back-to-back guys from the state of Texas. So even though Steve Sarkisian doing some things down there for the Longhorns, Jimbo Fisher having NIL get that recruiting class that he got in 2022 for A&M. Nick Saban still walking down to the Lone Star State and pulling whoever he wants to pull. So we'll talk to Justin, get those two updates right there. But we want to hear from you tonight, the fans of Bama football. You can do this by calling 205-448-1358, the number to call in and let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. We want to hear from you tonight. Ring those phone lines. The daily Super Chat Go, $75. Daily Super Chat Go. Appreciate you, the incredible fans, for making this show what it is. And so, John, we're going to get into topic number one without further ado. And while normally on a Wednesday, we like to break down the opponent that Alabama would be playing in a particular week, this week Vanderbilt, but when something else takes precedent, we got to get to the attractive news, the hot news, the fun news first, right? And so this news revolves Bill O'Brien, Billy O, OB, if you will. Will he be in Tuscaloosa next season? This is a real question. There's a lot of information, a lot of speculation, a lot of conversation happening right now. And Bill O'Brien has become one of the hottest names, one of the more intriguing names when you look at coaches that are looked at as candidates for particular potential head coaching vacancies in other spots in college football. And there are two teams that are high on OB's radar. There are two teams very interested in O'Brien. The first of those two, Nebraska. According to Bruce Feldman of Fox Sports, the Cornhuskers, who recently fired Scott Frost, they have three names who they are going after hard to be the replacement head coach. One of those three names, Bill O'Brien. And OB did do some good things at another Big Ten program, that beat Penn State, 2011, 2012 as a head coach, during a time where the Nittany Lions had just this horrendous cloud over their head of scandal with Jerry Sandusky. And, of course, Joe Paterno was lumped into all of that. And Joe Pa, the unfortunate, untimely death, and all the issues that went on at Penn State. Bill O'Brien put his hand over that program 2011 and 2012 and guided it through some tough times there. So Nebraska has O'Brien as one of its three candidates for the head coaching vacancy. And then shortly after Nebraska had theirs, Arizona State let go of Herm Edwards. And on their short list of coaches, the Sun Devils have O'Brien on that also. The OB is becoming a very hot name out there in terms of coaching candidates that can fill in some vacancies here in other programs for college football. And it got me thinking about this, John. And Mike McCoy, former Alabama wide receiver, 2009 BCS national champion, founder of Maximum Performance Training out of Bessemer, Alabama. He was, out of Bessemer here in the Birmingham area, he was on our post-game show for TDA after the ULM matchup. And McCoy brought up an interesting point. He said when it comes down to Coach Saban, the way he gets on and gets after coordinators on the sideline in games, even in practice, everything that we think Coach Saban is saying, those coordinators, he's actually saying to those guys. And, for a lot of coordinators, Saban is very demanding. He's a perfectionist. He wants things done the right way. He's very meticulous about how he wants things done. He's very particular about how he wants things, handled. And some guys can gel with that. They can roll with that. They can handle the butt chewings and whatnot. And then some guys, that's just not their cup of tea. And there's a reason why only one offensive coordinator, that being Jim McElwain, has stayed with Coach Saban longer than 2 to 3 years. Coach Mack was in Tuscaloosa from 2008 to 2011. Now, of course, Coach Mack was there to really help build the culture of the program and build the brand and build the excitement and see, could this really be substantial? But after Coach Mack, other guys didn't stay long. You look at Doug Nussmeier, he was only here for 2 years. 2012, 2013, boom, he's out. Lane Kiffin was only in Tuscaloosa for 3 years. 2014 through 16, he's out. Now, of course, there were other things that surrounded Kiffin, but only stayed for 2 to 3 years. Brian Daboll was only here for 1 year, 2017. He's out. Mike Loxley, only here for 1 year, 2018, as the offensive coordinator, introducing the joyless murder ball. He's out. Then for 2 years, Steve Sarkisian as OC, 2019, 2020. He's out. So Coach Mack, the only one here longer than 2 to 3 years. And it got me thinking, John, of an old statement that our mothers, our grandmothers, a teacher that was really influential, just people that grew us in life, they would always have the statement, it don't take all that, honey. Baby, child, it don't take all of that. You're doing too much. It don't take all of that now. And they used to tell us this, right? But for Nick Saban, it's like it takes all of that and more, right? Because you're trying to be remaining at the top of your game, at the mountaintop of college football, at the upper echelon, staying 3 to 4 steps ahead of your competition. You're trying to remain at the cutting edge of what you do. So sometimes to remain there, you may be a bit more demanding than usual. And some people get that. Some people vibe with that. And then some don't necessarily vibe with that. That's the reason why Coach Jim McElwain was the only offensive coordinator to this point that has stayed with Nick Saban longer than 2 to 3 years. Just some folks just cannot take the butt chewings and the perfectionist and what Nick Saban demands of you out there on the field. But the question is, with O'Brien, and we did a poll, TDA, on Twitter about you, the fans, what would you rather see OB do? Would you rather see him remain in Tuscaloosa, or would you rather see him take the Nebraska job? And we put the poll up, and over 1,300 of you as fans voted in this poll. And with 86.7% of the vote, the majority of you said, get on to Nebraska. The majority of you said in the poll, OB, get on to Nebraska. And a lot of you said, and how can we help you pack? Do you need any help packing to go to Nebraska? So, O'Brien not providing the creativity that you as Alabama fans want to see more of. So, here comes the dying question. If O'Brien goes, if O'Brien leaves, who does Nick Saban call? Who does Alabama replace him with? And of the litany of names out there, I could only think of 2 for me that I would call instantly. I would have an interview with instantly. And the 2 that's at the top of my mind, number 1, Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze gets a call from me. I understand he had the issues at Ole Miss, but he's learned from those. He's grown up from those. He's matured from those. He's done a phenomenal job at Liberty. I would give Hugh Freeze a call. The offense he had at Ole Miss, beat Alabama twice, beat Nick Saban twice. He would put you back in the mind of Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian, Hugh Freeze would do that. So he'll be a phone call. The other phone call I would make, and this would be a bit of a stretch because he is in the NFL, but I would even look at Eric Bieniemy of the Kansas City Chiefs. Why? Because it's something about when you work for Coach Saban, you quickly get that head coaching job faster than you would think that you would get it prior to that. And a lot of people look at the Kansas City Chiefs as, well, that's Andy Reid's offense. That's Andy Reid's team. He's the mastermind. You know, he does all of that. Even though Bieniemy is under the tag of offensive coordinator and he calls the plays, people revere Andy Reid as the offensive mind. So, and with Bieniemy, what he does with Patrick Mahomes and creating plays where Tyreek Hill is getting open, Travis Kelce's getting open, all their weapons are just getting open out there. That type of creativity, you can certainly use that in Tuscaloosa. And we've seen NFL head coaches come to Alabama and have success. Mel Tucker did it. Brian Dable did it. You know, we've seen NFL coaches come to Alabama and have some type of success. So Hugh Freeze, Eric Bieniemy be the two coaches there, just off the top of my head, that I would have there on the list. Just due to, in today's college football, in today's football period, you need creativity. It's calling for it now. You need guys that are just so innovative, so dynamic, so electric, so detail-oriented, so much schemers, strategizers that stress a defense out. I mean, look at the NFL. Sean McVay, elite offensive mind. Kyle Shanahan, creative. Andy Reid, creative. Just so many guys. Mike McDaniel, creative. You've got creative guys running the league right now in terms of offense. And for Bill O'Brien, older guy, not that much creative juices flowing. And you as Alabama fans have talked about this for quite some time. So, OB getting offers here, getting looks at here, Nebraska, Arizona State for right now. If he goes, who does Alabama need to make a phone call to run this offense in the future? But we take our first break right here, folks. We'll touch that down because when we get back, we go to the phone lines, we grab your calls, your thoughts, your conversations. Who would you like to see Bama call if OB is done after this year? We get to you guys after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up.
9 players have teamed up and released the Alabama Team Paper, which is a video yearbook they've put out for sale direct to fans. Now, for the first time, small dollar purchases from the fans can support the players as a group as well as a great cause, because $1 of every subscription payment is donated to the Boys and Girls Club of America. Be a 5-star fan base and support your team and a great cause with Team Paper. Check it out at teampaper.com/Alabama.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
All right, baby, we're back into the action from the break. #1 show. Got the flame for you. Talking the Crimson Tide football. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith. Touchdown, Alabama Magazine. Happy to have you guys in here. The man, John Ivory, the maestro, handling the production behind the scenes here. Guys, shout out my man, Big Bill. Bill from New York with that $5 donation. Dropping the love offering in the bucket there. Dancing Stephen doing his thing there in the khaki pants on top of the desk. Appreciate him what he does right there. Hopefully Dancing Steve does not break the khaki pants this time. But we go to to the phone lines to grab your calls. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. Number to call in to let your voice be heard, 205-448-1358. We grab this call here. You are live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from?
Well, Stephen, it's hump day. Humpity, hump, 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 hump. There it is. I hope everybody's doing good tonight. Vanderbilt's come to town. Let's have a good win, no injuries. But what I'm concerned about there Monday, Uncle Charles has got me worried about this cockroach. Stephen, that's one tough cockroach.
Yeah, they can be some pretty dangerous animals, pretty dangerous insects they're weighing. And I mean, they sneak in your house. You know, they crawl around. You don't like how they look. I mean, you got to always watch out for them cockroaches, man.
Well, I have to give you a little advice. First of all, we need to find out whether they airborne or infantry. If they're airborne, I suggest raid. If they're infantry, I suggest Uncle Charles going down to the nearest boot store and get a pair of them pointy-toed Mexican boots and get them cockroaches in the corner and crush them. Now, wait a minute. I love the Mexicans. They just got done putting some solar panels on my house. But get you some of them boots, Uncle Charles. I'm going to tell you something. I was going to tell him a little something. Good Lord blessed me through my life. We was poor when I was a kid. Whew. I know how them shoes fit, Uncle Charles. I'm going to tell you something. There was 6 of us in the family. We slept in the same bed, same pair of underwear. All right, everybody, y'all be careful. Y'all looking good. I won't be here Friday. I'll be getting ready for the game. I love all y'all. Y'all be safe. God bless all y'all, and we'll see y'all at the game. Bye-bye, everyone.
Appreciate the President Waylon calling in to get started here on a Wednesday. And, John, I know, John, you weren't here Monday, John, but Uncle Charles gave us some lessons here for our everyday life. Beware the roaches. Beware of that. But we take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How are you feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hello, Stephen. Bill from New York. How you doing, brother?
Doing great, my man, and yourself.
We're cool. Tonight I have a couple of opinions I want to give that might not be too popular, but, we're here to discuss things, right? I don't make all-knowing proclamations. I just give my opinions, First one is what you're talking about if O'Brien leaves. A guy I would call, if I was Coach Saban, would be Mike Locksley. And I'll tell you why. He ain't going nowhere in Maryland. You know what I mean? What's he going to do against Michigan, Ohio State? They got all that money, but he ran that offense rather well, And I think that being a head coach in college is a lot harder than being a head coach in the NFL. I think it's a lot more work. And I think being an assistant in college, even under Saban, would be easier than being a head coach. Because really all you have to do is follow Saban's, his model, you know what I mean? And I respect what he did for us, and that would be a choice of mine. Second thing, here we go now. I'm going to talk about Toto. Look, I hear on the Bama stand, all these guys, don't stop talking about how much they can't stand that guy. But I'm going to tell you something. When you put what Henry's doing, okay, versus what like Reuben Foster had to do, I'm not saying Reuben Foster is one of the best football players I ever saw. But how many times the guys run into him unobstructed? And that's what happens when Dale's on the field. I'm sorry to pick on that guy, but he doesn't occupy blockers. He doesn't provide pressure. So what's happening is Toto is not a big guy. He's a modern-day linebacker, Steve, and that's what linebackers are. Linebackers are one of the lowest-paid positions in the NFL now. They have to be. They're more into like covering, pass coverage than they are like the Willie Lanier and Dick Buckus type crushes. You know what I mean? It's not like that anymore in the NFL. And it's the same thing with cornerback. A lot of cornerbacks are making more money than wide receivers. The game's changed. It's a passing game. It's a passing league. I don't think Toto is so bad. I looked at it. You look at his stats against his last team. I know we weren't playing anybody, but he had good stats. Let's see what he does from here on in. Now that we got my man Otis in the middle, You know, I think if Toto had Barmore back there, I think he'd be
that's something. That'd be something.
Right? He'd be doing a way better job. So what I'm saying, that's all I got for tonight, other than the fact that you're the man, Justin. I couldn't believe that he discovered that back in January when I Googled it. You know what I mean? Justin Smith knew about that guy already. You know, what's his name? Jamarian, whatever. That guy can play. You know, and I think him and Trey Sanders really got to get in there more because the two of them are looking good. All right, so good night, everybody. Roll Tide. Good night, Stephen.
Appreciate my man Bill from New York calling in right there. We grabbed this call. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from?
Hey, Stephen, this is Michael from Columbus, South Carolina. How you doing?
Doing great, Michael. How are you?
I'm good. I just want to say, Alabama, we did such a great job against Louisiana Monroe last week. I mean, it was so exciting to see the receivers get to play. And I really do believe, and I'll say it again, Trayshawn Holden, Kobe Prentice, those guys, to me, they just, when I tell you, Stephen, they eat. They eat, they live, and they breathe football. And getting to see them on the field play, it's just been amazing. And then we get to see guys like, Kendrick Law get in there. Get to see guys like, Jacory Brooks get in there. Well, I got two questions for you, but one of my questions is I've been hearing a lot of talk about Aaron Anderson. Can you give me any kind of intel on him?
Well, Aaron Anderson, he was actually back in practice this week. I know the University of Alabama, they had the footage there, and of course Aaron changed his number from 82 to 13 in summer workout. So Anderson's back in practice. He had the little knee issue, but he's back in practice. Does he play this week against Vandy? He could, because he did look really nice in practice this week. We'll see if Saban chooses to put him out there, but he has been practicing this week.
And my final question is, the offensive line, I feel like Tyler Booker, when I got a chance to see Tyler Booker go out there and play, I really feel like, to me, that he should be in the starting lineup. Tyler Booker, to me, he just, the way I saw and the way he looked, look at that old line. You got Kendall Randolph, you got Darian Dalcourt, Tyler Steen, who I love the way Tyler Steen plays in the old line. You got J.C. Latham. I do feel like that in some way, Tyler Booker's got to get in that old line, that starting old line somewhere, because I really, really like the way he's playing. But my second question is, Stephen, is will we get a chance to see more JoJo Earl, Christian Leary, and Tyler Harrell? How's it going with those guys?
Well, in terms of Earl and Tyler Harrell, JoJo Earl is actually dry running now, coming off of the foot fracture he had early in fall camp. So he's dry running now. The rumor is he could be ready by Arkansas, hopefully, but that's the rumor right now. And the same thing with Tyler Harrell. The rumor is could go by Arkansas. You could have both Earl and Harrell back for the Arkansas game. If both play, if both are back, that's huge. Christian Leary, that's the mystery. That's another mystery because we know the speed he has coming from high school in Orlando, Florida. I don't know why he is not on the field more. I don't know why he's not being utilized more. And that's another reason why the Alabama Nation is looking at Coach O'Brien going, can he please get out of here? Because Christian Leary is another tool in the toolbox not being necessarily used. But appreciate Michael there from South Carolina for that call. Hopefully we can get Christian Leary because, my man Mattress Matt from Mobile love himself some Christian Leary. And Matt, if you're listening, I don't know why. If I knew why, I would tell you. But I have no idea. They're not letting us at practice anymore due to what happened with COVID. But if I knew why Christian Leary was not getting on the field, I would have the answers. I do not have them. But we got my man John Ivory in the production studio, 205-448-1358. Number to call in, 205-448-1358 here in my own words. Got a shout out my man Jimmy Clay, Cash Money Clay, with that $75 donation to the Super Chats. Appreciate the love in the bucket there from my man Jimmy Clay. But as you continue to get your thoughts in here, gotta go to this cool topic, and that being Crimson Tide dropping the 2023 football schedule. It's here for 2023. And some intriguing matchups here in this schedule. I mean, you got Middle Tennessee State to open up the year. Once again, you open up the season without a neutral site game against a marquee opponent. But, week 2, Texas comes to Tuscaloosa. Steve Sarkisian comes to Bryant-Denny next year. And then you go to South Florida. You go to Tampa to take on the South Florida Bulls. That one could be an interesting game. And then you got, of course, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Arkansas, Auburn, your usual suspects there in the SEC. But this 2023 schedule got some interesting matchups in here. I know Texas, week 2 is going to be fun. I've never been to Tampa. I would like to go to Tampa to check out, the Bama-South Florida matchup. You would have the SEC championship game on December 2nd. Should Bama get in there next year? I mean, that's early December. So 2023 schedule out. I mean, next year you've got Bama going to A&M again. You would have Bama going to Auburn next year. You got Bama going to Kentucky. They play Kentucky out of the East next season. Intriguing schedule here for the Crimson Tide for 2023. But we're gonna go to a break right now, folks. If you're still on the lines, call or hold through for the next 10 minutes, or you can call back in the next 10 minutes, because when we get back, we got the man, the myth, the legend, Justin Smith of TDA coming on, updating 2 commitments here for the 2023 class. You'll hear from Justin after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
All right, folks, we're back into the action. From the break, Wednesday, hottest show on the streets, talking Bama. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Your Crimson Tide getting SEC play started up Saturday against Vanderbilt, Tuscaloosa, Bryant-Denny Stadium. But right now, we go to the In My Own Words hotline where we pick up. Y'all claim I don't sleep. This man does not sleep, period. I wonder how he does it, because I think my job is something. This dude's job is something. I mean, he's out there driving state to state, coast to coast, city to city. International people know who this guy is when it comes down to the Alabama football recruiting trail. And if you don't know who this guy is, then you're missing out on what Alabama football is. This is Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA. Justin, man, what's going on?
Well, as always, well, thanks for that great introduction, Stephen, but always happy to be on with you.
I mean, I'm just calling it how it is, Justin. I mean, Justin, you everywhere, man. You need a passport, a plane, a jet. You everywhere, man. We got Justin right here on the show. So, Justin, Alabama 2023 class, Nick Saban still clocking them down, booking them in, trying to make this recruiting cycle here really, really huge. And recently, the last couple of days, Bama going into the state of Texas, pulling out 2, huge names here. When you look at 4-star wide receiver Jaylen Hale and a 4-star defensive end, Jordan Renaud. But starting this thing off with the receiver here, Jaylen Hale, I mean, to you, what uniquely stands out about his game? Because I feel like now Alabama wants more speed receivers. We saw it with getting the Jerry Judys, Henry Ruggs, Jalen Waddles, Devontae Smiths, Jamison Williams. They've added more speed with other guys. But, uniquely with Jaylen Hale, I mean, what does he bring that has you go, okay, this guy's something else?
I think it's the physicality and his aggressive playing style. He's not the fastest guy in the country by any sense of the imagination. Just looking at the other guys, Alabama have verbally committed to wide receiver position, Malik Benson, who's one of the fastest JUCO wide receivers in the country, and also Cole Adams. He runs a 10.65 and do a 100-meter dash. So both of those guys may beat Jaylen Hale in a foot race, but I don't think either one of them will beat him getting to the football in terms of having a nice vertical, going up and get the football, attacking it at its highest point, and taking it away from defenders. You take a look at his huddle film, it almost looks as if every play should be on You Got Moss, because he's mossing a lot of guys consistently just going up and snatching the football away from defensive backs in the air. And I think we have a guy like that. He's a guy who can get some confidence from his quarterback. For example, look at Bryce Young. Okay, he sees guys not open as open as he wants them to be, so he holds them to the football. But if you got a guy like Jaylen Hale, hey, I can just throw up a 50-50 ball to him, and he'll go up and get it and make me look better in those type of situations. So I think Jaylen Hale is one of those guys. He's not a real speedy guy, so he does not play on the ground. You look at a guy like Jamison Williams, Calvin Ridley, those guys, even I think I'll put Jerry Jeudy in that conversation as well. Great speed, great route runner. So yeah, they play it on the ground a lot. They're able to create separation. But you got a guy like Jaylen Hale who's going to go up and get the football. Jalen Waddle was able to do that really well. Devontae Smith can do it all at the wide receiver position, so he can go up and get the football. So I think Jaylen Hale is in that type of conversation in terms of what he brings to the table. So I really like the fact he's a guy who will go up and go and get the football. I think that is his biggest strength. He's growing as a route runner. His routes do look a lot more precise in terms of what he's doing as a senior. As a junior, they did not look bad as well. You can tell that he's consistently growing in that area. So I like what I've seen out of Jaylen Hale.
So, Justin, as we look at now, when you look at this, just the state of Texas in recruiting, when you see what Steve Sarkisian is trying to build with the Texas Longhorns, and then you got Jimbo Fisher using NIL for the 2022 class to gain the number one class in the country, but Nick Saban still able to go to the Lone Star State, even with the growth of Sarkisian, even with the growth of Jimbo Fisher. Nick Saban still walks into the Lone Star State and grabs two top prospects when you look at Jaylen Hale and Jordan Renaud. I mean, what does this say about Alabama and Coach Saban when Steve Sarkisian's good, Jimbo Fisher's trying to get there also, but you can still walk right into Texas and pretty much take what you want? I mean, what does that say about Alabama in terms of Coach Saban, this staff, and this recruiting?
I think the biggest thing is Alabama is still Alabama. I think that is something I hear a lot of recruits get lost for words when I ask them about an Alabama offer. I think I hear that answer so much. It is Alabama. We all know what Alabama stands for and what an offer means from them. But I think Alabama's coaching staff has done a really good job of recruiting the state of Texas. They still have a couple of targets still in the Lone Star State, of course, but looking at Jordan Renaud and Jaylen Hale in particular, they have been building a relationship with those guys for several years now. I remember Jaylen Hale told me that he has been building a relationship with Nick Saban and Alabama's wide receiver coach Harmon Wiggins ever since he was a sophomore. So I think Alabama's coaching staff has done a really good job at capitalizing off of the program, but at the end of the day, it's pretty simple. Alabama is still Alabama on the recruiting trail. That offer does hit a little bit different than a lot of offers when it comes to college football. So I think the Crimson Tide are not in trouble on the recruiting trail at all. I know sometimes it gets heated because, Alabama may miss this guy, may miss that guy, but they are well on their way to having another top recruiting class, could have the number one recruiting class across the board, no matter what recruiting site you take a look at, just based on who they have verbally committed at the moment. And there's so many other guys still on the board. This class is an opportunity to be a pretty nice-sized class with them already having 23 verbal commits, and I think I can rattle off 15 to 20 guys that are still recruiting pretty hard.
If you're just checking us out here on a Wednesday, we got Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, breaking down the 2023 class, Alabama, with 2 updated commitments from the state of Texas in terms of Jordan Renaud and Jaylen Hale. But, Justin, before we get into the last question here, a thought from the chat line from the fans. Rick Knight wants to know, where is Alabama in terms of James Smith and Quay Russaw? Where does Alabama stand with those 2? How close are those 2 to maybe giving that commitment to the Crimson Tide?
Both of those guys will announce their commitments most likely on National Signing Day during the early signing period. So there's going to be a lot of build-up to their announcement. They are a package deal. I did a great story and a great piece on why they are a package deal, because they consider one another as brothers, have a great relationship, spend time with each other on and off the football field. So they are definitely a package deal down to Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Florida, Alabama State. I think those are schools that they are considering at the moment. Every school looks as if they have a chance. I think the Tigers, Auburn Tigers, definitely have a great opportunity. If I had to pick their final 2 teams right now, in my opinion, I would say it would be Alabama or Auburn, just based on the relationship they have with the Auburn football program. Has visited Auburn a couple of times this season, was back in Auburn when the Tigers took on Penn State. Of course, the game did not go the Tigers' way, but the Tigers did get both of those guys back on campus. I feel Alabama's in a good position with them. They have continuously recruited them. In terms of when they will officially visit Alabama, that official visit will most likely go down in December, and Alabama is projected to be the last team to get them on campus for an official visit before they make their decision in December. So I think the Tide are in a really, really solid position with both of them. Still a long way to go. They will have a lot of opportunities, most likely get those guys on campus before then, but getting them on campus in December and possibly getting them on campus after last school, I think that will go a long way. But Alabama safety coach Charles Kelly is heavily involved in their recruitment. Nick Saban, of course, Alabama's defensive line coach Freddie Roach. So the Crimson Tide are, I think, like I said, in a solid position, but they still have a long way to go. If I had to make an opinion, maybe Auburn, Alabama Iron Bowl recruiting battle at the end of the day. I know a lot of people might say, why is Auburn in it? Their program is not in the best position right now, but recruiting is about relationships, and those guys have a great relationship with the Tigers program. So that is something to watch in terms of their recruitments moving forward. Be sure to check out our highlights and interview with both of them on our YouTube when we get an opportunity to see them earlier in the season.
So, Justin, as we look at this, and I know you and I talked about this before, the wide receiver position, and you've mentioned how Saban's going after more speed now than what he's ever done previously. But in your opinion, do you think it's all speed? Do you think it's a combination of things? Do you still think Alabama pursues a physical route-running guy that can go up and attack the ball at its highest point? I mean, when you look at the recruiting metrics now and how you go about scouting these athletes, I guess what's becoming the number one ingredient that Saban says this receiver has got to have this in order for us to even look at him?
I think it's a combination of things. Every receiver is a combination of different receivers have different skill sets. Of course, you want a guy with some speed now just based on what speed does. I think that is something Alabama's wide receiver group right now is lacking in terms of having explosive guys at wide receiver position. JoJo Earl is out. Christian Leary has not been able to get on the field. That's why they are throwing Isaiah Bond on the field as quickly, because he's an explosive, speedy wide receiver. JoJo Earl is out. Also, Aaron Anderson is out, another explosive, speedy guy. So, of course, speed is important, especially when you got guys running those 10.65 and 10. 100-meter dash. Of course, you want to get those guys on your roster, but route running is still important. Nick Saban talked about it in his press conference today in terms of how important running your routes are, having a great release out the line of scrimmage, being able to get out of your breaks at the top of the route. So if a guy's an established route runner coming out of high school, which is something that's not out of the ordinary now because everyone has a trainer, wide receiver specific training. So those guys are getting trained on route running as quickly as possible. So I think you want the best combination of everything. If I had to create a wide receiver now, in my opinion. I get a guy with good length, give me a guy 6'2", 6'3", great route runner, get that explosive, crazy speed, and a guy like Jaylen Hale who will go up and snatch the football away, dunk on a couple of guys on the football field, guys who possibly dunk the field goal post after he catches a touchdown. So I think you want a guy with all those different things. Of course, you're not going to get everything. That's why development is so important. So you're not going to get the full package right out the bat. But I think you are looking for a guy with everything, but every guy has a different skill set.
He's Justin Smith, ladies and gentlemen, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, coming on here to give us the lowdown 2023 class, updated with the 2 commitments from Jordan Renaud and Jaylen Hale, both from the state of Texas. And Justin, as always, man, we appreciate you. People, check out the process with Justin every Tuesday and Thursday right here on the TDA YouTube channel. My man Justin, we appreciate it, man. Take care.
Do the same, Stephen.
Always exciting getting a chance to talk recruiting with my man Justin Smith right there. We go to the phone lines now. We're going to take a break right now. I got to hear myself. When we come back, then we go to the phone lines and we grab your calls, your thoughts, your conversations right after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith. Brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com now to get your 4-finger bling necklace.
What's up, Bama Nation? This is Rudy Griffin, former Alabama defensive lineman, and you're listening to my guy, Stephen M. Smith, In My Own Words, brought to you by Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Roll Tide, roll!
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care. In support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to WhitwellSports.com and get your Title Towel today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month or pay $74.95 for a full-year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
All right, folks, we're rocking and rolling in here to the action. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine on a Wednesday, hump day. Appreciate my man Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, in that recent segment breaking down the 2023 class, which has 23 verbal commitments to this point. But we go to the phone lines to grab your calls. The call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. Number to call in, 205-448-1358. We grab this call now. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling?
Yeah. What's up with y'all, man? Y'all all right?
We good, Jay. How you feeling?
I'm making it, man. Y'all know I'm finna call in about well, I just want to know, Steve, what you feel about the offense? Do you feel it's the players not executing the plays, or do you feel like Bill O'Brien just not calling a good enough game?
I think it's both, Jay, and that's the reason why O'Brien's name has come up for 2 different coaching jobs. His name has come up for the Nebraska job, and Bama fans are like, can we help you pack now? His name has come up for the Arizona State job, and fans are still saying, O'Brien, can we help you pack now? So it's both, but I would lean more so toward O'Brien because you have to understand the personnel you got out there. And if you really know the personnel you got out there, then you got to get all of these guys involved, regardless of whether they're running backs, tight ends, receivers. If you know the skill set of what you put out there on the field or what's on the field, then you got to utilize what you got.
Steve, did you watch the Georgia South Carolina game?
I did.
Did you see the run play I called in last week? And they whole offense based on this one run play, the inside zone, man. It don't matter if they run it out of shotgun. It don't matter if they run it out of pistol. It don't matter. And then it's blocked 17 different ways to where it's always going to be a hole open on this play. So, and then it's up to your backs, which we got, the left and right back and the downhill back. But I just don't get Bill O'Brien. But, man, Steve, SEC about to start now. We got to go ahead, open this SEC play up with a statement against Vanderbilt. You go ahead, you 56 nothing them folks. Everybody's so high, 42 points and this and that and all of the transfers and all that. Well, Bama folks been down you all year. We came into the year so high on you. In my opinion now, your offensive coordinator done brought your game down to a Missouri level. Like, we look horrible out there, but, you know, I that's just my opinion. But this the game where everything could be right. The ship could be right. This ain't no UNLM or whatever they is. This Vandy. You go ahead, stomp a mud hole in Vandy. Then the rest of the SEC going to look back and say, oh, well, they tried to warn us then. You know what I mean? Go ahead, get your act right. Run the ball, Steve. If we ain't throwing it 40 yards downfield, we shouldn't be throwing the ball right now. Run the ball, man, and work on the deep ball. We ain't seen Bryce really complete too many deep balls in 2 years. When Mac Jones was there, that man was tossing them things down
every
the
week.
field.
Every week.
But I don't know, Steve. I love y'all. This the game for us to get right, man. We got to run this ball and come out with a little bit more aggression on defense. I'm about like Nick. What a hateful folks said. I just want to see somebody smack somebody just for the fun of it. But all right, man, I love y'all.
Appreciate Jay. Appreciate Jay from Sheffield calling in. Hey, Nick Saban asking what a competitor's at. Nick Saban asking, hey, what are gangsters on the field at? Ask the question Nick Saban asking. Coach Saban asking it. You know everybody else is asking the same thing. We're going to take this call here. You're live on the show. What's happening? State your name and where you calling from.
Roll Tide, Steven. Roll Tide all the way, brother. What's going on?
Doing great, William. Doing fantastic. Bama opening SEC play against Vandy this weekend, and Saban had his press conference today, and had a lot of good things to say. But my thing is, hopefully we get the rest of these position competition battles sorted out.
Yes, sir. I want to talk about Bill O'Brien's replacement. Maybe we can get somebody that maybe run the jet sweep, or like the old days. Barry Bryant used to run the wishbone. Maybe, which I think the NFL still uses the jet sweep every now and then. Well, what's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that, William, is and like I mentioned, I would like to see if Alabama was to go get an offensive coordinator to replace Bill O'Brien. My first phone call, I just really liked what Hugh Freeze did at Ole Miss. I thought he did some really good things offensively, gave Alabama a ton of problems, and if you were to get a Hugh Freeze, he would put you back in the mindset of a Kiffin or Steve Sarkisian. I would like to see Hugh Freeze here. Now, I'm pretty sure Nick Saban he's already got his short list of coaches to call and interview and look at because he stays ahead of the curve. But if this was just me, the first phone I would be ringing would be Coach Freeze.
Yeah, I think he'd be a good pick myself. Anyway, Roll Tide, and I'll let somebody else come on there.
Absolutely appreciate my man William calling in from Iowa, giving us this love here on the show. We take this call here. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Love here on the show. We take this call. State your name. Where you calling from?
Okay, you're live call. You're live on the show. Well, unfortunately, we lost that caller there, but we're going to go to a cool topic here. You guys continue to get your thoughts in, 205-448-1358. Once again, that's 205-448-1358. We got Bama quarterbacks in the NFL, and folks, Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts, they ain't playing, y'all. They ain't joking around, y'all. Year 3 in the NFL, they cooking up. They cooking the haters up. Tua T. Double T in the morning. Tua Tagovailoa, AFC Player of the Week. From what happened against the game against Baltimore, 469 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, Miami Dolphin record, out-duel Lamar Jackson, beat the Ravens 42-38. Tua the whole offseason, he trained with Perform Sports Training. They got his body right. They got his footwork right. They got his timing right. They got everything right. Tua's arm strength, he's averaging 15 to 21 yards further on his throws. You want to talk about stretching the field? Tua is generating some juice from the ground throwing the football. And I've said this before. You let the brother get healthy. He dealt with the hip situation. You let him get healthy. You let him rehab. You let him train. You let him get his body back in order. You get him some help in terms of receivers, running backs, offensive line. You get a coach that believes in this man, like Mike McDaniel. This is the Tua that we all knew would happen. This is him. And he's out there having fun. And boy, he looks good. Tua Tagovailoa leads the NFL in passing yards, leads the NFL in touchdown passes, is in the top 10 for yards per pass attempt, in the top 10 for passer rating and QBR and all of these huge stats here. And then Jalen Hurts. Oh, baby. Jalen became the first quarterback in league history to account for an 80-plus completion percentage, 300-plus passing yards, and 2-plus rushing touchdowns in a single game. Became the first quarterback to do that in league history. And he put on a show against the Minnesota Vikings, outdueling Kirk Cousins. Y'all, Jalen and Tua ain't playing. Mac Jones won this past week too, and I don't want to forget that because he did. But Jalen and Tua ain't playing. They done went through some criticism. They done went through some ridicule, man. They want all that smoke, and they out here playing. And they want all the smoke. So I'm looking forward to seeing even more of what these two brothers are going to do here on this field. But we go to our final break here on the show. Touch that down. When we get back, we tidy up loose ends by getting into Alabama and Vandy just a little bit, and the positional battles that need to be solved this week. We'll wrap things up after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to STSfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to STSfootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full-year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, folks, we're back in here to the action. From the break, in my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciate all of you guys. We got, 186 people in the chat. Hit that like button, baby. Hit that like, hit that thumbs up. Let's get this to 100 likes. I know you guys are on it. Appreciate you guys. 186 people in the chat. We got 78 likes right now, but let's get this thing to 100. You love the show. You picking up what we putting down. Let's get this thing up. Run that like thing up. 100 likes here on the show. And also, don't forget tdawear.com. That's tdawear.com. So for all of your swagger, sauce, drip, clothing, cultural, fashion needs, check us out right now, tdawear.com. I'll make this your one-stop shop for all of your Bama gear, clothing. Get that awesome stuff to cheer on your Tide, support your Tide. Link in the description right now, tdawear.com. Continue supporting Coach Saban at the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at TDA. But SEC play opens for Bama Saturday against Vanderbilt, Tuscaloosa, Bryant-Denny Stadium, and should be a matchup where the Crimson Tide is able to get the last little bit of things need cleaning done, fixing up these positional battles, solving a lot of these positional battles out there on the field. And, Vandy comes into this matchup 3-1. I mean, John Ivory can't believe it. I'm going to say it again for you, John. Vanderbilt's 3-1. So, I mean, John can't believe it. Vandy coming in here, winning record. Coach Clark Lay has done a really good job. And what's even more surprising, Vandy's got one of the top offenses in college football. Vandy's averaging 42 points a game. I know. Vandy's averaging 42 points a game. Defensively, this is a very much so improved group. Tyler Steen, who's former Vanderbilt offensive lineman, now playing for Alabama, will face his former school. Joseph Blovis, former Alabama kicker, now at Vandy, will face his former school. So this is very intriguing right here. But Coach Saban talked about it on Monday, how Clark Lay, he's improved the program. Former Vanderbilt player, Vandy alum, back as a head coach. He spoke at SEC Media Days about how he was going to change the culture in Nashville. He's starting to change it a little bit, and he's bringing this to Tuscaloosa and trying to see how does his team stack up against Coach Saban and Alabama. And like you guys have mentioned and have called the show today, this is a game where Bama can show the rest of the SEC, hey, we ain't playing around. By the way they handle Vandy, by the way they make quick use of Vandy, they can send a message to the entire conference. We are not playing around in terms of the Crimson Tide. And the positional battles, in my opinion, that got to be solved this week. Number one, at corner. Got to solve that. I mean, Terrion Arnold, I think he solidified himself as one corner, but the other corner, whether it's Kool-Aid McKinstry, Kyrie Jackson, Eli Riggs, Jacquez Robinson, that other corner spot's got to be solved. That other spot's got to be solved. Because after Vanderbilt, the gauntlet happens. You got Arkansas on down. So that's got to be solved this weekend. Who's the other corner opposite Terrion Arnold? So I think that right there is number one. Number two, the offensive guard position. One of the two offensive guard spots, left guard, right guard, got to be solved. I understand, Saban likes Javion Cohen and Emil Ekiyor, but Tyler Booker is that dude as a freshman. And when you got Saban high on Booker, when you got defensive players high on Booker, when you got running backs high on Booker, and then Tyler Steen as a transfer, as an older guy, comes in and says, Booker, mean, nasty, dog mentality, physical. That guy's an animal. You got several folks talking about Tyler Booker in this way. He's got to be a starter, whether at right guard or left guard. And I mentioned this Monday. If he's at right guard, the right side of the offensive line becomes stronger than the left side. Because if Booker's at right guard, you got two IMG kids cleaning folks' clock out. And that's Booker and J.C. Latham. And Latham's having a whale of a season so far. I mean, even if you put Booker at left guard and you got Steen and Booker, that works too. But I just think Booker and Latham on that right side, that's just, even God would say that's unfair to have Booker and Latham both on that right side. So I'm going to say that. So offensive guard spot, that's got to be solved here in this game, in this match. But then, wide receiver, that's got to be solved in terms of those guys that can really create that separation out there. And The reason why wide receiver is a big thing is, I've mentioned this before, Aaron Anderson could be back this week. And Aaron Anderson practiced all week. He was out there Monday. I know he was out there today. Looked good out there. Has switched his number from 82 to 13. Anderson had the foot issue, did not do a lot of the fall camp things, the knee issue, did not do a lot of the fall camp things, but he's back out there. Back out there in practice, back out there going through drills, back out there catching passes, back out there running routes, back out there showing you the speed, as you're seeing it here on the clip. If Saban is cool with him being out there playing against Vandy, this is huge for Alabama. Why? Because he's a guy that has that take the top off a defense type of speed. Christian Leary has it also. Don't understand why he's not playing more. Kobe Prentice has it, ran a 4.340, but we're trying to see how Alabama wants to really use Kobe Prentice. Kendrick Law has speed, Chaz Preston has speed, but until JoJo Earl and Tyler Harrell make their way back, hopefully, Arkansas, you have Aaron Anderson here in the practice. We'll see if he takes the field for Vandy, but cornerback, offensive guard, wide receiver. I want to see these three things here, cleaned up in this game against the Commodores. But as always, folks, you want the best in news, notes, information, entertainment, coverage on your Bama football. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store. You got the Android phone. For your audio needs, check us out, iTunes or Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, iHeartRadio. We got you right there. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I will be back Friday, continuing the conversation that is Tide football. Remember, Bama fans, you can do this. You can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Have those sent to your door. That link found, you guessed it, in the description. If you're trying to get the fresh edition, print edition of TDA the magazine, here's what you do. You go to touchdownalabama.com, you click join, become a member or a subscriber today. That link in the description. If you're trying to get the four-finger bling necklace, four-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of our guys at weownthefourthquarter.com. That link in the description also. You can get that four-finger bling necklace right now from our guys, weownthefourthquarter.com. But gotta shout out my man Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, coming on here to give us that lowdown in the 2023 class. Gotta appreciate you, the outstanding fans of Bama football, all the calls, the donations, the chats, the conversations, you making this your show, your network platform, channel, and space to talk Bama. And I gotta thank the big man in the room, my man John Ivory, producer extraordinaire, the maestro in the production area behind the scenes, making this show what it is. And until next time, folks, husbands, love your wives. Wives, appreciate, value those husbands. Children, you guys continue doing the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, good thing, legitimate thing, to not be bored and get that schoolwork done there. Get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself. You protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith. Until Friday, you've been listening to In My Own Words.